Okay,
Good afternoon.
you can start rolling, KHR. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. You're most welcome to our crowning session. It is a great honor that we are with here today. And first, I would like to thank all our colleagues who I would like to thank colleagues from Siatini. I would like to thank colleagues. First, I would like to thank all our colleagues, Food Rights Alliance, who all colleagues from Caritas, FIAN, Pelham. I would like to thank colleagues from Siatini. I would like to thank colleagues. First, I would like to thank all our colleagues, Food Rights Alliance, for putting up of colleagues from joining us Caritas, in this station. Pelham. We have had a month colleagues that has taken Siatini. I would like to thank colleagues. Different First, I would like to thank all our discussions Alliance for putting up of colleagues from joining us. I think it is best that we have grown the month that has taken Siatini. I would like getting together and see how we have grown and discussions the way we putting up of colleagues from how do we build on the partnership. It is best and we deliver that we have grown the month. That said, I would like to now come together and my colleague Hannah that discussions the way we putting up of colleagues from how do we build on the partnership. Best and we deliver that we have grown the month.
Mr. Chimera, you need to maybe either switch off or remove your gadget that has the YouTube, because we are hearing two gadgets at the same time. You could speak to us through the Zoom, and then either you lower your whatever for YouTube or you first pause the YouTube on your side. We are getting a double sound from you. Sorry colleagues for that. Mr. Chimera, is that okay?
Sorry about that, the technical hiccup.
Okay, you are now okay. I think you need to rerun. We missed your first version of what you are saying because of the hiccup.
Colleagues, sorry about that. I would like to welcome you to the session that is crowning the World Food Safety Day, but we are looking at the month of activities. I was appreciating all colleagues from the different organizations that we came together to see to it that the Food Safety Coalition initiatives of this year are run in partnership. We started with different activities. So I would like to thank our colleagues from the Food Rights Alliance. I would like to thank colleagues from Pelham, colleagues from Siatini. Would like to thank colleagues from Caritas, Action Against Anger, Consent, and also thank Professor Kaya from Makerere, Dr. Matovu from Naro. I would like to thank all our colleagues in Kenya who joined us, Dr. Michael from Youth Network, Education Network, and then to thank Dr. Alice from Consumers Grassroots Association in Kenya, and all others who joined in. I would like to appreciate, like we say, partnerships deliver life and life delivers partnership. Let's continue partnering. We want to use this day to crown the month where we are sharing the successes, all aspects that we have done during this month. it is very important that we keep on pushing the agenda of food safety. You will very well know food is the foundation, food is culture, food is happiness, food is togetherness. So its safety is very key for us all. So we are greatly honored to have this opportunity and time. We convene again and we share our stories. So at this point in time, with all our partners coming together, I would like to thank you and I wish us good deliberations. One of the biggest champions that we have in the food safety arena, I had forgotten, is the media. Different players in the media have done us good. Most of you, if you're following up the media spaces, they can't pass half a day without any story on food safety in different aspects. At Consent and the Food Safety Coalition of Uganda, on a daily basis, we monitor the digital space, but there is an article every day on food safety or food-related issues. So would like to thank the media for the role that they are playing to bring to light aspects that are there and they are affecting the food that gives us life. So with those remarks, I would like to thank you all, colleagues. Let's continue partnering. Let's sustain the message and let's look forward to getting better livelihood through quality food that is also safe. Thank you very much. I hand over to you, Bernard.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chimera, for your kind submissions. Colleagues, let me be sure if my voice is very okay, so that we don't miss out a thing when I'm speaking to us.
Can hear you, Bernard.
Okay, Henry. Thank you.
I can hear you. We can ask the rest if they hear you clearly. They can give you a thumbs up, but I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just see the hands up. Maybe if at all everybody. Wow, thanks. Okay, so colleagues, you are very welcome once again to this conversation. Today we are concluding the World Food Safety Month. You remember that every 7th of June we commemorate the World Food Safety Day, and today is already the 2nd of July, and one would wonder why we are closing the day today. But of course we agreed when we started this the month that sometimes we start these activities but then we never conclude them. So we promised ourselves, that time we are quite a number, we're over 60 of us. We agreed that when the World Food Safety Month comes to the end, we should be able to update ourselves on what has transpired during the course of the month, what have we been doing, what has been done across the country, and what would be the next course of action. That is what we agreed when we last met, when we were launching the month. And so we found it very important that actually we come together and we give ourselves an update of what happened during the month. What were we able to accomplish and what were we not able to accomplish, but also how do we move forward after the World Food Safety Month. Now that the month is done, what next? What should we prioritize during the course of this new course of action? And I think that is very important for us now to have that kind of conversation, such that we don't initiate things and then we leave them somewhere. And I think for us that was something very important that we thought we would deliberate on before we close the month of the World Food Safety campaigns. So basically what I'll be sharing with you this afternoon is just to share with you how far we've gone and how we intend to move forward, and I think that will be coming up from all of us on the call. So let me quickly remind us of the basics. We have been talking about food safety every now and then, and I think it is a very important aspect to remind ourselves of the basics around food safety so that we keep track. We agreed the last time we met that there are so many challenges on food safety in the country, and of course we reflected on a number of aspects, basically looking at the hazards. And those hazards have not gone away. We talked about the physical hazards. You might remember how we agreed that now we find our food with lots of stones, with lots of sand, with lots of pieces of hair. We are finding food with pieces of wood. Sometimes you find pieces of jewelry in the food. And all those those are food contaminants that we need to deal with. The community is aware that when you have bricks, stones, sand, jewelry, the beads, paper, or maybe droppings of animals in food, our community is aware that that is actually contaminated food. Are they aware that that kind of food can actually cause trouble to the consumer? We also looked at the chemical hazards which are now rampant. We talked about things like people using highly hazardous molecules in production of food, but also preservation of food using public health drugs. We looked at people using antibiotics, even wrongly in making food for animals, etc. All those chemicals end up in the food system, and also they may end up in the bodies of consumers, and they may also come up with a lot of trouble when it comes to antibiotic resistance, with other illnesses that are associated with chemical misuse in our food system. We further reflected on the biological hazards, where we see a lot of our food contaminated with bacteria, with fungus, with a lot of parasites, with of course having challenges with the microorganisms in our food that eventually are consumed by our people, by ourselves, and we end up of course getting diseased. Of course, not forgetting the fact that aflatoxins are still with us, and that is one of the bigger challenges that we have to deal with in Africa, but also specifically in Uganda. So we reflected on a number of biological hazards that are actually contaminating our food, and of course also looking forward on how can they be prevented in terms of proper storage of food, in terms of proper hygiene and sanitation and the proper handling, and also looking at issues of promoting cookery of food, thorough cooking, separation of food that is cooked from uncooked, and also ensuring that people are using clean utensils, the hand washing, issues of utensils, how our utensils cleaned, bringing in also the concept of water. How is the safety of the water that is being used in cooking food, but also in cleaning utensils. We're bringing in the concepts of how food is being cleaned and also how the food is being preserved. So we looked at all those aspects in our previous engagement when we launched this campaign on how do we reach out to the masses out there. Now, we also looked at the legal aspects, aware that we had so many laws. You remember Dr. Kabanda take us through a number of laws and regulations and standards that exist that could actually be leveraged to advance food safety across the country. So we saw that actually we had a lot of legal and regulatory frameworks in place that needs to be leveraged for us to be able to improve food safety situation in the country. But also we noted a challenge of legal awareness as one of the problems that we have, that people are not even aware of these regulations, people are not aware of the laws, people are not aware of the standards. So it was then our responsibility then as actors to move out there, share this information with the masses, and make sure that we make sense out of this information. How do we bring it to the people? So basically, we agreed that the World Food Safety Month, we're going to do a lot of work on awareness, on capacity building, on dissemination of research, but also ensuring that we document whatever would be happening during the course of the month. And that is the commitment that we made during the start of this month. So basically, for those who might have missed the previous session, that is what we basically agreed on. Now, allow me share with you quickly a simple presentation highlighting how far we have gone in regards to the World Food Safety Month, what was happening in the background, what was happening everywhere, some of the interventions that we were able to document. Let me just be sure if you can see my screen. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Henry, for the feedback. Thank you, Professor Kaya. So now I am just going to quickly reflect with you what has been happening. Now let me start with this. As you're aware, on the 5th of June 2026, we launched the national commemoration of the World Food Safety Day, reflecting on the theme From Burden to Solutions. And we had a line list of our colleagues, our experts, who were able to share with us a wider spectrum of things. Professor Kaya gave us a keynote address highlighting the hazards, highlighting what is wrong out there, highlighting the real burden of food safety, indicating there's so many people who are dying, aware that almost closer to 13% of the population in Uganda who go to the hospital, they go there because of a foodborne illness. Talking about now over 800 million people who get sick worldwide, and all those burdens, what is contaminating our food, etc. Professor Kaya was able to really highlight to us that. And of course, we had Miss Agnes, who shared with us also extensively. Miss Agnes from the Food Rights Alliance, sharing with us experiences around aflatoxins, but also the work of civil society. We had a conversation from Dr. Kavanda, who's from Sefrot, talking about the legal aspects. We had Jonathan, Mr. Jonathan Lubega, talk about, issues of trade and food safety. How is trade, how are we losing market of our products because of unsafe products? I remember him highlighting how much food we lose, how much money we lose by selling food that is contaminated, how food is being rejected from the border points, then other rejects of tomatoes and other vegetables, but also how that compromises Uganda as a country when it comes to international trade. We had a conversation from Dr. Moses Matovu, of course highlighting a number of aspects relating to the solutions, what has NARO brought on board in terms of solutions that are addressing the food safety concerns. And so he highlights issues relating to aflatoxins, how they have come up with AflaSafe, which is supposed to be a solution to address aflatoxins, but of course also highlighting gaps to do with now marketing of AflaSafe, ensuring that AflaSafe is out there to the population. How do we make sure that it reaches people? And also he goes on to share more interventions that have come on board from NARO in terms of the how do we manage diseases in animals and also in plants. So he was able to really extensively share with us that information. And of course, Henry Chimera bringing on board the aspects of consumers, perspective of consumers and food safety. We had also two other guests from Kenya sharing with us the experience from the Kenyan side. So these conversations happened around that time, and you can find all those conversations on the link that I've highlighted here. When you click this link, you should be able to follow that conversation once again. You can be able to have access to the YouTube discussions of all these members who discussed with us. On that day, we note that we were able to have 65 people who are live on Zoom. And also we had other colleagues on YouTube watching the conversation. On YouTube, this conversation was viewed by 89 people. So meaning that over 150 people were able to participate actively in this conversation. Now, after that, we were able to have a press conference. This is another intervention after the launch. We decided to engage the media personnel because we are aware from the civil society perspective that we didn't have resources. Given the current state of affairs, we started looking for what would be the best option of reaching out to people out there with a message on food safety. So we decided that we actually leverage the media. The media is a very critical stakeholder in this conversation. And so we onboarded the media personnel from different regions of this country leveraging the media league, but also leveraging the different media houses that we have in the country. And as civil society actors, we came up with a press statement which we provided to the media for their use. And of course, away from the press release, which highlighted, of course, a number of concerns around food safety, what is going on in the country, highlighting those aspects, we were able then to also build their capacity on a number of hazards. So we took them through the physical hazards, the chemical hazards, the biological hazards, but also looking at the allergens, so that the media personnel have a perspective of what they can actually communicate out there. Now, our intention was just not news. Our intention was that once the media has this information well packaged to suit them, they are able to communicate this information in their local languages on different times of the day, but also on different media programs, which we vividly saw now during the course of the month. We've been monitoring the radio outlets, the TVs, and all these other media platforms to see whether the message is actually getting out. So in addition to the media press statement that we provided to them, of course highlighting the statistics, how many people are sick, how many people are dying, how many people are having illnesses, how many diseases are induced by, for instance, aflatoxins, how much money do we lose as a country because of, the food safety concerns. All that was provided in the press statement, which the media has continually used during the course of the month. Now, this media press conference, it was on Zoom as well. We made sure that we used the online spaces to be able to reach out to them. Of course, it was effective that even people who are far away from Kampala were able to receive this information timely. So on the 7th, which was the real day of the World Food Safety Day, that's when we had this conversation. We had it on Zoom, but also we broadcast it on YouTube so that it can be watched by as many people as possible, sharing this information. So we note that 110 individuals were able to view and listen in on YouTube, while on Zoom we had 45 journalists that we had agreed to engage. So these journalists were both from Kampala but also from other parts of the country, and you can see that that means that the press conference alone, when you look at Zoom and YouTube, we're able to reach out to about 155 individuals with this message. So that is something that was worth investing in, our time, expertise, but also sharing with the media, which made us happy to reach as many people as possible. Now, following the discussions, a lot of work was happening online. You can, for instance, see that if you go on X, people who actually watched this conversation online, leave alone just listening in, but those guys who were watching the videos that we're having. Remember that all these conversations we're talking about, we had them both on Zoom and YouTube. And then the partners, I really want to appreciate you, Food Rights Alliance, Safe Road, Caritas, Fiani, Consent, Food Safety Coalition, Pelham, etc. We made sure that we use the online space to reach as many people as possible. For instance, if you look at this post where we put this video, we actually realized that it had 896 views from just one partner. So 896 people look at this information was something very, very important. If, for instance, you look at Siatini, one of their posts on this day where we shared this message, they were able to reach 191 people. I see colleagues from Consent with 189. I see Safe Road with 292. So you realize that the online spaces were able to leverage them to reach as many people as possible with this information. This is just a snapshot of how this information moved away from the YouTube and from the Zoom, but you can see that we are talking about over 1,000 individuals who are able to quickly look at this information, comments, and all that kind of stuff. So this is how we can leverage the media to reach out to people with information on food safety. And I think we're able to leverage, amidst the resource constraints, we're able to really reach wide and far with this information. Now, after the conversation with the media houses, we've been following up these messages. How did they go? We've seen the radios. We have so much of this information, but I was just picking out cases to show us that there has been a lot of work that has been done by these media houses. I just sampled from Kasese Guide Radio. The message was there. You can read it. You can find the audios. I have also attached the different audios of news bulletins, of awareness creation happening on those different radios. So when you get these slides, you'll just be able to click on these ads that I've put here. You can be able to see the sound. You can listen into their conversations. You can be able to listen into the news bulletins. You can be able to listen into whatever information they were sharing out there with the masses. So
please increase the volume.
Sorry. Okay, just a second. Just a second, and I increase the volume. Sorry, Flores.
Increase the volume, please, or get closer to the mic.
Bernard, are you on course?
Mami Chimera, give Asha Ntabadde the rights so that I can speak on her gadget. It's a little bit louder.
You're more
than this
clear
one.
now.
You give Ntabadde the rights so that I speak through her microphone.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Bernard.
Yes, please.
You're actually very audible. The colleague that is complaining should check her settings. You're very, very much audible since you started. So I suggest that you don't stagger. Otherwise, we might get into problems.
I also thought so.
Well, go ahead. Both of
Okay.
you have got
I think
rights
now we can
Go
proceed. Let me now quickly proceed to share the progress or how we moved during the course of the World Food Safety Month. So I was already showing that numerous radio stations were able to document in different regions of the country. You can imagine that an activity that is happening in Kampala, but we are able to stream it in Kasese, in Fort Portal, in Gulu. So we have all these kind of activity happening within the media space. So we made sure that we grab all what was happening in the different media houses. And we saw that actually we reached so many people out there. And I think that is something very good, leveraging the media to be able to reach far. Now, away from the radios, we had a lot of publication in the news papers, just like you can see in the New Vision, you can see in the Independent. These stories kept running during the course of the month, meaning that we're able to reach to different categories of people who are listening in, or those who are not accessing radio, they were able to get newspapers. Those who are not able to use newspapers were able to find the information on X, on LinkedIn, but also on other platforms. So we saw really a lot of work happening during the course of the month. We can see also Uganda Radio Network with its different segments come up with a lot of information using different angles of this information. So one would be bringing an angle of maybe contaminants, while the other one is bringing the policy angle, while the other person is bringing. So it was more of reaching out to the masses with different pieces of what we expected to reach out there. And all these kind of messages, you can be able to find them on the links that I have attached there just for your reference, and being able to appreciate what is happening in the food safety space during the course of the month. And I think it's our first time also as I think a team to come up with, after these sessions, what happened. And I think this is very good, and I want to appreciate the partners for thinking about it this way. Of course, we've seen in the monitor continually reports coming in from that angle of contaminated food, threatening lives, threatening exports, and they put up the call that the actors brought on board during the course of that conversation. So you realize that there's a lot that has been happening during the month, and I think we want now to write some sort of a newsletter where we can put all these, because I couldn't be able to summarize all of them in just a few slides and in the short time we have. But you'll receive them in a written kind of document, and then you can be able to make reference to them. Other activities happened during the course of the month. One of them, of course, looking at the discussion we had on the launch, we realized that, of course, highly hazardous molecules or pesticides had also become a challenge altogether. And different countries were coming up to ban some of them. Uganda is one of them, banning the 9 chemicals and restricting other 9. Kenya also had banned and restricted others. Kenya, I think, banned 77, while Tanzania also has a line list of over 600 molecules that they actually banned and restricted. Now, given that, we needed to go a little bit higher to look at this conversation with the EALA, East African Legislative Assembly, and BD, Pelham Association, Food Safety Coalition, the Route to Food, and other actors. We had an opportunity to have a conversation during the World Food Safety Month. We leveraged the meeting at the EALA, where the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources were meeting, and were able to extensively take them through the highly hazardous pesticides discussion at that level, because it had become a very high level conversation, but we cannot have it at local level when you're not talking to the people at the region. So we had this conversation. They invited us. We were able to have a conversation on these molecules, what has been banned, what is still on the market, how do we know them, and etc. But also, how do they impact food safety? How do they impact regional trade, etc. So I want to appreciate the team led by Beatrice Mbugwa and Medias, who quickly organized this engagement, leveraging on the World Food Safety Month. So that is also another big step that happened. And there's a conversation up there thinking about how do we do regulation at the ESC, how do we harmonize the standards on pesticide use, and that kind of conversation happened in there. And the legislators decided that we have a conversation with the Technical Committee on Agriculture on the same, which we shall be alerting you when that time comes. But I think those were some of the conversations that we can proudly talk about during the course of this month. And now we have a direction on how we're going to look at harmonized regulations for sustainable alternatives around the pesticides. We further looked at another interesting opportunity. The Ministry of Agriculture is coming up with guidelines on post-registration. They call them post-registration guidelines on pesticides. So the ministry shared with us the draft guideline, and quickly we mobilized stakeholders, partners whom I see on this call, so that we leverage on the World Food Safety Month to look at these guidelines and provide a commentary. What exactly do we see? How can we enhance? How can we improve the guidelines to make sure that the safety issues come in? So we're able to come together as civil society organizations, came up with that document that you can see on the side, the civil society organizations, technical commentary, observations, recommendations, and proposed edits on that document. And we're able to submit it to the Ministry of Agriculture. Just like you can see on my right hand, I have tried to share with you the email that we shared with the Commissioner, Dr. Mwambu, with our inputs. And this is the document, and this is how it looks like. We were able to attach it there for their consideration. Most of the partners, I copied you in that email to make sure that you follow what is likely to come out. I've received feedback that the team is looking at the comments, and they are trying to see which comment fits where. But each one of you at least has a copy. If you don't have, please don't hesitate to notify us. We can be able to share with you that copy, and then you can be able to look at the comments that we provided, technical comments. I want to appreciate all the partners who really presented, who submitted those comments, and we acknowledged them in that document. So thank you all. And of course, there are other activities that have been happening during the course of the month. I have seen the colleagues come up with a number of podcasts. ESAP Uganda came up with a podcast. I see it, so it has already been viewed by 43 people. 2 weeks ago, we were able to leverage on that to share extensively. This information that we shared, we brought to this podcast. You can be able to reach out to that podcast using that link that I've just shared up there. We were able really to exhaust. We looked at the hazards, we looked at the impact of food safety on trade, on health, on economy, and all those kind of stuff on that podcast. Of course, the fact that this YouTube, that this podcast is being shared, has over 917 subscribers, it means that this message will reach as many people as possible. But as of now, in 2 weeks' time, we've had about 43 views of that. I also understand that Naro had another podcast where our members who are on this call were able to actively participate. We have seen that Sephrot was able to come up with an X space, still to have a conversation on the same, but looking at basically how do we engage the youth in food policy change, but leveraging on food safety. We also saw Siatini come up with some sort of a brief, a policy brief, specifically on pesticide regulation in Uganda. I know that also Pelham has been developing another. It's not yet complete, but at least there's been work. We're able to review all these documents and have them ready during the Food Safety Month so that they contribute to the food safety conversation out there. So a lot of work has been really happening. And now, as I come to the end of sharing with you what has been happening, we need to now reflect. These are things that we gathered from the different conversations we had. Recognizing Uganda, for instance, as a food basket, but of course also having food safety remaining a significant issue. Now the question should be, how do we address the food safety issues amidst Uganda being a food basket? We also saw how exports are being affected during the course of the conversation we had, that we have rejects of food, maize, fruits, vegetables, etc. from international market, losing a lot of money, losing over 38 million through export rejects. We can see a lot of 1.8 billion that is estimated as losses from food safety concerns, etc. How do we make sure that now we keep this money within the economy and we don't lose it? How do we advance food safety to an extent that we cannot lose all this money? So the issue of now the NDP came through. Now that we have the NDP, tenfold growth, how do we leverage food safety to advance the food, the growth, the tenfold growth when it comes to agro-industrialization and etc. If we further reflect on what Ms. Agnes was sharing with us in terms of, 60% and more than 60% of foodborne illnesses treated in Uganda, about 30% of disease burden. How do we deal with that? How do we, because food safety is causing a lot of, burden. So how do we deal with that as civil society, as government, as partners? How do we deal with those issues? Ms. Agnes kept on emphasizing the burden amongst the vulnerable population, children, pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, elderly, and individuals with compromised immunity. How do we move forward to advance this? How do we move forward to reach out to consumers? Because the consumers are also exposed to different things. We have exposure to pesticides, mycotoxins, and all these other things. And I saw Ms. Agnes writing a lot of articles during the course of the month. How do we advance that and we reach out to the masses as much as possible. There are other conversations around aflatoxins. How do we make sure that the conversation on aflatoxins is actually reaching the last mile, people down there? How do we reach out to them? Which mechanisms can we use? We've seen with aflatoxins that even if you cook, they will not degenerate. Professor Kaya told me that you need temperatures of over 400 degrees for you to burn an aflatoxin, but there's no kitchen that goes to that. So how do we deal with this kind of situation now in this coming year that we have started, so that by the time we are jubilating the World Food Safety Day 2027, we have done something that we can actually tell people about. There are conversations on aquaculture. How do we make sure that, for instance, residues that go to the water are not affecting the fish? Or how do we make sure that these residues even don't go to the water sources where fish is being bred or something of the sort? So all these conversations came in handy. Concepts around the cold chain in our markets. People are using public health drugs because they don't have cold chain. The transport mechanism of food, etc. How do we handle that? How do we reach to our farmers to make sure we give them this information? I mean, how do we strike a balance between the economy, the economic growth, consumer health, and also environmental protection? All those were concerns that actually came in. And of course, when it comes to how people are dealing with food safety in their homes, washing utensils, keeping food, storage, etc., how do we move forward with this kind of information? So, colleagues, my role was basically to present to us a summary of what has been happening during the course of the month and to show you the steps that were able to be taken. And that is what I was able to gather with the team. But of course, there are quite other things that we can document, and I wish that we can share them. If there are any perspectives that were shared and have not been able to capture them in this presentation, this is an opportunity for us to be able to get that perspective and be able to share what has been happening, so that we are able now to come up with a comprehensive state of the World Food Safety Month. And we intend that once we have documented all this, we're going to share it with the World Health Organization, the department that is responsible for gathering this information from all the countries, so that Uganda is not left out in this conversation. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, that is a snapshot of what was transpiring during the course of the World Food Safety Month. And I want to thank you for listening in. We're going to do one simple task. Let me first stop sharing. Thank you, Henry, for the Bugaro. Thank you. We are going to do one quick thing, and just let me share the screen. Okay. We are going to quickly get your computers or your phones, and we respond to these questions. So you're going to go to your browser. Let us go slowly there. Let us go to your browser, and you type in menti.com. We're going to go slowly there so that each one of us can be able to respond. So you can either put in mentimeter.com, just write it in your browser, Menti, like the word you can see on your screen there, mentimeter.com. Mentimeter.com. If you're done, you can give me a thumbs so that I can see, and then we proceed to the next. I don't want to leave anyone behind in things of technology. If not, you can scan that QR code that you can see on your screen. You can be able to scan it. Now, when you go to mentimeter.com, you will go where there is something like participate. Okay. So let me just type a chat there, mentimeter.com. Okay, you can just pick it from the chat. And then they'll ask you for, at some point, they'll ask you for a code. Let me also put the code in the chat. The code can still be picked from what you're seeing on the screen, 28 33 87 36. I've put it also in the chat. Okay. Let me know if there's anyone who has any challenges with accessing what we are saying, just in case there is anyone having challenges. Okay, let me know if all of us are able to, you have now seen a screen like this. The moment you go to mentimeter.com, you'll see something like you want to participate, something like that, and then you put that code, then you'll be able to access. Okay. I have a different code. Okay. Claire, which code do you have? For you to access these questions, you will have to use this code.
Let her type in, it will go.
Okay, if you are able to access, now you can have access to those questions. You just need to respond to them. You're able to type in. Okay, I can start seeing conversations coming through. Okay, thank you. I hope that now all of us are having access. I can see some responses come through. Food talk on various platforms. Thank you. One-on-one with the social clubs. That is some work that has been happening. I can see someone already talk about agroecology, consumer awareness campaigns on food safety in my community. Okay, I presented a keynote address on the launch day. Yes, this is, I think, Professor Kaya, highlighting the food safety situation in Uganda. I have raised awareness on the dangers of unhealthy food, on health and the impact on trade. Perfect. Can we have more responses, please? Okay, let me see. Okay, okay. Okay, let me see. Christopher, are you able to access the Menti? Okay, let me see. Okay, I doubt a story on radio about
No,
food safety.
no, Bernard.
Involving on household budget and posting food safety content. Awareness creation through news writing and topics. Okay, writing blogs, blog articles. I think you can see that there's a lot of work that has been happening out there, especially around the World Food Safety Month. You can keep them coming before we go to the next session. We just have a few minutes. Let me just give it more 2-3 minutes. We want to learn from you guys what has been happening in the month. Okay, training farmers. Well, someone was training farmers on aflatoxin outcomes. Okay. Let me see. Keep them coming so that we can see what people have been doing out there. Okay, great. Thank you guys for, okay, training farmers. Great, thank you. Thank you. All right, so let me now go to the next question so that we also populate it. But I'm really humbled by what you have been doing during the course of the month. Okay, let me see. One more response. Well, one conducted a road awareness. Enos, are you able to put that in the Menti so that I don't forget to get it? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, let us now look at the next question. There is that other question. We can also write it in the Menti and we see what exactly we can do. What interventions should we focus on this year? What interventions do you think we should focus on this year to improve food safety in Uganda? We want to see that our interventions of this year are well informed. So what interventions, colleagues, do you think we should leverage on this year to actually reach out to the masses? Keep the answers coming. I hope you're able to see the question and you're able to respond. Okay, let us keep the answers rolling. Sustained awareness and advocacy. Okay. Awareness campaigns right from grassroots to policymakers. I think we need now to let me just see a little bit here as the ideas keep rolling. Let me see the comrades. Partners who are here, I think this is an opportunity also to pick ideas that we need to think about during the course of this new year, so that as we celebrate the 2027, we have interventions that we have undertaken in relation to food safety advancement in our communities. And so looking at these, what the colleagues are presenting here, it provides us an opportunity to see what people think should be the interventions that we need to move with, so that we keep on advancing the food safety messaging out there. Well, so there is demystifying technical, I don't know that is demystifying technical research into, oh, okay. I think this is simplifying the research into simpler messages. I think this is good. Widen partnerships by bringing food businesses on board. Yes, I think we need to bring food businesses on board. Let me see. Focus on localizing the tools. Yeah, interesting. Focus on localizing the tools and methods of how to approach some of these prevailing problems in order to tackle them better. Okay, unlearn some methods as we learn and relearn new interventions. Correct. Thank you so much. This is interesting.
Bernard.
Let me see what the chat
Bernard.
says. Okay.
Bernard.
Interesting. Push for the development and passing of the national organic law. Wow, interesting. Adverse strict fiscal regulations. Avoid providing incentives to the trade in HHPs. Passing the guidelines on post-registration. Okay. This is agroecological interventions. Take it to schools. Giving statistics on how people. Okay. See, let me see more coming through.
Bernard.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you for your input.
There is somebody who wants to
We need to build more
speak.
partnerships for food safety. We need to take the food safety conversation in schools. We need to speak to the food industry as well on these issues. We need to simplify research and break it down. Yeah, let me see. Okay. We need to think about the laws on HHPs and organic and agroecology interventions. Wow, school food safety campaigns, local governments are key and should be made to appreciate food safety versus production focus. Wow, this is exciting to know. Okay. Thank you, comrades. Keep them coming. Let me now quickly go to another simple question as we come to the end of the questions. Let us also brainstorm on that other question. Whom should we bring on board to advance food safety? We've been talking to each other. Who else do you think we should bring on board to advance food safety in Uganda? That is the next question. Whom do you think we should speak to going forward? Who else do we bring on board? Let us keep the answers flowing. We're coming to the end of the questions, and everybody will have an opportunity now to speak a little bit. We just have a few minutes for the questions. Okay, I see the answers coming. Okay, keep them coming. I see the private sector. So here we are talking about probably the restaurants, the street food vendors, maybe the market vendors, maybe the manufacturers of things. Maybe we are talking about the industry Okay, ETC. So all that is part of private sector. All of us are concerned. Basically, they're saying that all of us have to be brought on board. Well, interesting, interesting. Let me see. Okay. Primary food handlers, the farmers, the schools, the market operators, without forgetting the transporters of food. Wow, interesting. We just conducted a study in Mbale looking at the transporters as vulnerable people in food. So I think this is very good for us to engage the transporters on how they transport food to the different destinations. I think that makes a lot of sense. We need to bring on board MAIF. We need to bring on board health facilities. Yes, health facilities are receiving lots of people who are sick. Actually, people who are having foodborne illnesses. Just imagine someone having a foodborne illness in the hospital, but they go back home without knowing that actually they are suffering from a foodborne illness. That can look crazy, yeah. So I think health facilities also have something called health education. We, in fact, even have the health educators in every district. Every district is supposed to have a health educator. So I think, how do we leverage on those health educators? I've seen all districts are lacking nutritionists, unfortunately, but I think we can engage our nutritionists to be able to run campaigns on food safety. We can onboard other actors. I see here head teachers for schools should not be forgotten. I see extension workers, community-based facilitators, policy makers, local government professionals. I see the legislators. Wow. Now, somebody is interestingly putting something on technically advanced food safety. Key professionals, food safety professionals. Okay. I can see. Well, kudos, colleagues. This is good. Agri dealers, Minister of Trade, another MDAs, of course. Now talking about UNBS and others. Okay, I think this is very good. It gives us a hint and highlight that whenever we are organizing the next couple of series during the course of the year or interventions, please, we can tailor activities around these personnel or these actors that we are mentioning here. Someone is talking about the enforcement team at the districts. You know, every district or city, they have these guys. How do we engage them? Last 2023, we went to Kasese and engaged the traffic police and also the police. And everyone was like, but you cannot put police and the traffic men in food safety conversation. By the time we ended the meeting, everybody was shocked that actually police has a very big role to play, and the road, these guys on the road, the traffic police, they all got shocked. We even involved UPDF on the food safety conversation. And I think we need to have more conversations with these guys, because someone who's drying food on the road has the traffic guy standing there collecting money from the traffic offenders, but not arresting the person who has put coffee, maize or whatever on the road. And yet that road safety concern can actually translate into a food safety challenge. So I think engaging them is something very, very good. In the chat, someone says we need to engage city authorities, those on ground, especially those around enforcement. Correct. Okay. So, colleagues, I want to really appreciate you for giving us the opportunity to share with you what has been happening during the course of the month, but also thanking you very much for participating actively in ensuring that you do something in your communities, as a country, trying to do awareness. Some of you have been writing articles, our media team, ensuring that you push this message to the lower local governments, but also to the communities, our civil society actors, colleagues in the government. I can see my colleagues from the nutrition space. I can see you here. I can see colleagues from Food Safety Coalition. I can see members from private sector, of course, the organizing team, the civil society actors. I really want to appreciate you for the efforts. Whatever I've been presenting is from your work that you've been doing out there. So I want to end my presentation, and I want to really thank you for listening in to me and for giving me the opportunity to share with you what has been happening. Now we're going to just open the floor for a few minutes. Just it could be 10 or so, depending on how many people have something you wish to speak in relation to the World Food Safety. What lessons did you learn? What are the issues? What are the challenges that you saw when you are doing this work? Would be glad to listen in to you in terms of the opportunities you saw, in terms of the challenges you've encountered, in terms of the lessons you are picking out there. This is now the time for us to share that now that we have where to start. So Mr. Chimera will be giving us an opportunity to speak. The proposal is only one. You just raise up your hand. When he sees the hand, he gives you the rights to speak. So thank you so much, colleagues, for taking time to listen in to what we've been doing during the course of the month, and also sharing perspective on the mentee. This has been very good, engaging activity. We have received so many responses from you. Now I open the floor for those conversations. Please put up your hand, submit an opportunity, a challenge you faced, or maybe ideas around food safety, how best we can reach out to the masses. Thank you so much, and over to you. Raise up your hand and we give you the space. Thank you. Okay. When we see a hand, we shall be able to give you the space. Okay, I can't see any. Okay. John, Osu, do you want to speak? I can see you write in the chat. I can only see when you put your hand, so I can be able to. Okay, let me just see. Okay, Jonathan, let me allow you speak. Jonathan, you can now speak.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bernard. This has been really an amazing and impressive discussion. To see that we recollect what we have been doing thus far. But also my learning experience is also a reflection on what has transpired in what we have been doing internally and looking at issues of trade. I mean, trade and fiscal. So here we have identified that we have lots of highly hazardous pesticides, and also we have lots of the weak fiscal policy landscape that that allows the continuous trading and also use of these highly hazardous pesticides. So in the one of my way forward is to see that we also have that focus to a certain extent on fiscal laws and how the tax regime is looking and favoring these unsafe food practices or even the environment. And then also what I also have to submit next is currently, I mean, rather this beginning of this month, it was around 5th, if I'm not mistaken, the Nogamu with the Ministry of Agriculture held a meeting to pave way for the discussions of having the organic bill. So it is such a great opportunity to see that we have a bill under the National Organic Policy. So it's an opportunity for us as the coalition and the actors to have a great input in this bill and also strengthen where there are loose ends that we can see. And maybe the last bit is beyond also sharing these ideas to the WHO team, we could also use the opportunities of sharing with the new members of parliament because if we have the new members of parliament who are coming in, they are in the process of orientation, it would be a great opportunity to see that they also have this kind of great information to facilitate debate on what really good food is, safe food environments could be, something of that nature. That's what I have to submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing with us these important aspects. I think it's very, very critical for us to really engage the parliamentarians, but also to engage in the organic bill, to input in the organic bill, and also these other concepts that you have shared. Thank you so much. We have taken note of that. Let me see any other hand. When I don't see the hand, I'm not able to give you the rights. Let me just go back here. You need to put up the hand for me to be able to see you. Okay. Okay. Can I assume that no more hands? Okay. It seems there are no other hands. Okay. Okay, so colleagues, I am assuming that if there are no hands, then it means that we are sorted. Let me see, just be sure. Okay.
Bernard?
Okay. Okay, right.
Bernard?
There's one hand, let me see. Okay, Chara?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring in a
I could go on.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, we have brought in many players, but we alluded to religious leaders. We need to bring in also the cultural leaders. We have a number of institutions that can leverage us as we're bringing the media on board and so forth. So we need to bring in the cultural institutions to take this to another level. That's what I thought that I could add on, but I've liked the composition and the sharing. That gives us a leverage to build on the successes that we have had, to sustain all that we have had throughout and continuously till next year. Thank you.
All right. Sorry. Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much for your submission. And I think, yes, the cultural leaders, they are very, very critical. I now take even the opportunity to welcome Dr. Sekamate. I can see him on the call, who is the board chair of Bukadef, one of the Buganda foundations that is responsible for programming for Buganda. I really want to appreciate you, Doctor, for joining us. Let me quickly pick up a hand here. Professor Kaya, let me give you can unmute.
Yes, I have unmuted, sir. Thank you very much, really, Bernard, for the summary and for all that you have done, together, of course, with the Mr. Henry Chimera, consent. Now, just to remind you that there were a lot of there was a lot of information that was also put on in the chat room when you are asking those pertinent questions. I hope you'll be able to access that information as you compile your report.
Yes, boss.
Secondly, I wanted to find out really, because we have had a lot of, we have done a lot of advocacy, a lot of awareness campaigns, and we have celebrated, commemorated all these days, the World Food Safety Day, the World Food Day. how do we measure success? Such that the next year, for example, 2028, no, 2027, when we celebrate, we are able to evaluate to see whether really there is a change or not. I think we need to start thinking about that, such that we are now able to account for what the efforts that we have actually put in to see whether this has really brought, and I don't want to call it an impact, but maybe a change for that matter. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Professor, for submission. It's a very critical submission that we keep reflecting on. Now, we need maybe for starters to start looking at some bit of outcomes. We have done awareness. Of course, there are different ways we could measure. For instance, the extent to which information is reaching out to the population more and more. At least are people even having access to the information? Because sometimes it's an issue of information. People are not even informed. Secondly, if there has been conversations on highly hazardous molecules, has government, for instance, acted? If we see any regulatory action that is taken by government following all these conversations, then that is a success that we can look at. For instance, you are aware that when we made a lot of noise, it's not noise, but productive conversation with government on highly hazardous molecules, and government comes up to ban 9 of them and restrict 9 of them, that is already a good sign that actually the advocacy is making sense. But also now we need to start looking at the burden of disease. For instance, are we lowering from the 13% to something? One of the challenges we have as a country relates to data, especially on some of these aspects. So maybe as researchers, we could also think about how do we actually measure successes of these interventions. And I think that that is something we need to look at. How many people are we reaching out there, and what is the change? What is happening in the communities? Are people changing from, for instance, using overused oil? People are coming back to the alternatives, away from HHPs, the highly hazardous molecules leaving the market, and are we getting alternatives? So I think that way, if we have solutions, for instance, AflaSafe, is it now reaching to the farmers? Those are some of the measures that we could start looking at and start harvesting some of the quick wins here and there. So I really entirely agree with you on the measure. How are we going to measure some of the things going forward, so that the reports that come later on, they can actually trace where we are coming from and where we are heading. So that is a very critical aspect for us to really consider. I appreciate you, Professor, for that. Let me now give Modesta. Modesta, please unmute.
Hello, it is me behind Modesta's mic because for some reason I have failed to find my raise hand icon.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you so much, colleagues. It is quite overwhelming taking an account of what we have been able to do. And thank you for a professor for taking off the icing on my cake by raising that issue. Truth be said, that we all agreed on an enemy, but never agreed on strategy. And you would see that we have all been shooting everywhere. We are only lucky that we have not shot at ourselves. But you would see that everybody just picked their guns within their capacities, and we threw bullets on food safety, however, wherever, which is very, very exciting. We can't condemn ourselves because anyway, food safety is everywhere, and we must shoot it from any corner. And a practical sense to deal with what Professor is saying, I had on my note here that I think Bernard and colleagues, we can sit and work on our and your engagement strategy. Building from what we are doing or what we've been able to do, and we bring it under a very logical engagement strategy. Then we are going to define what our indicators are at milestone, at output, but at outcome. Bernard, it will be far-fetched for us to say that with our campaign, we are going to be charged responsible for reducing disease burden. Maybe it can be at a higher impact level or something like that. But what is required is of us converging after this conversation. We work on our engagement strategy. We bring into that strategy all these efforts that we have shared here, aligned. And then at point T, we are going to be able to track our indicators and measure our performance. I had that here on my note, and my senior professor tipped off the icing. The other comment that you asked us to share an experience. My personal experience this month, by the way, that is my sacred month because it is my birth month. I really love June. But what I've been taking a lot of reflection at a personal level, and I have realized that the more we tone down and talk to specific things, the more we reach the last mile person. I have experienced when Bernard, I wrote about pork. You don't know how many calls I've received from pork lovers. When I wrote about that dishwashing sponge, I'm getting a lot of responses because people are identifying with these particular things in their day-to-day life. That is the experience that I've had. I've been part of this terrain for quite some time, but this is when I have decided to talk about food safety issues very close to the lives of the people. That has been my experience coming from the bigger abstract, but of course evidenced with the research facts the likes of professors and doctors have done, but bring it closer to the people. I think that someone need to tell us what happens to the straws. You know, the things that small things we do in our daily life. Maybe we are going to convert so many people on our cause. The last observation I have had is how much and how far we can go if we work together. I think this has always been my biggest motivation, that you would see the kind of outreach that we have been able and the action we've been able to do collectively, but also individually. And that is why we are sharing it here. So I think we should continue with this discipleship and bring as many people as possible. If the commander says shoot, we all go ahead and shoot from wherever. One day, if we don't shoot at ourselves, we shall shoot at food safety. Congratulations, and colleagues, I must say, June is just catalytic. We should not take back the guns to the sub-county. We should hold our guns firm. Aluta continua. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Agnes. You always intrigue me by the way you bring out these aspects. Thank you so much, really, for sharing with us. I read all the articles, and I will be glad to share them with everybody. I will send them to the media personnel in your different regional groups, so that you read those interesting pieces. How the washing sponge in your house and the aspect of pork and the sound. I mean, it's quite crazy, but very interesting with lots of facts there. And I think I love the localization agenda. How do we localize food safety? How do we make sure we speak about food safety from the local perspective, but also singling out those issues that actually affect communities without even their notice, you know? And I love the issue of discipleship. It's another new term we get in food safety, that we are disciples of food safety. And so we need to make sure that wherever we are, at whatever time, at whatever point, we keep on engaging communities, the masses out there on this subject matter. I really want to appreciate you, Miss Agnes, for your energy, for your guidance. Every time now and then we keep calling you for support. And also the issue of the strategic direction, the annual food safety strategy. As a country, we needed to have an extract maybe from a government, something, but where it is not or where it is expired, we may need to just maybe come up and insinuate this conversation again and share with also the MDS so that we are able to move forward together on the aspects of food safety. I really want to agree with you, and I will document all this and share with us colleagues, and also we put some bit of timelines on each of them. And of course, partnerships deliver. Partnerships deliver. If any one of us did this work alone, trust me, there's nothing that you could actually go even a mile. Now that we moved together as a team, as a group, as actors, as partners, and we are not leaving anyone behind, we're able to do quite a lot of work with minimal resources. Let me just see if we have any other hand.
Bernard.
So that, okay, let me
Bernard.
just see.
Bernard.
Colleagues, if you have any hand or if you failed to put up your hand.
I think he has muted you.
Okay, I don't see any hands. I just, all right, I just don't see any.
You have got
now I wanted to, okay, I can
Modesta
see
is there.
So Modesta, I hope it is Miss Agnes who was speaking. So you
yes, and she wants
yes,
I hope
yes,
so.
Modesta. I mean,
but if it is a new hand, you can also alert me so that I give you the microphone.
Yes.
Let me see.
Agnes wants to speak, and there is a good message in the chat from
Mr. Lubega. Is that a new hand?
Yes, it is. Madam Agnes is
Bernard.
They are calling
Agnes
you.
wants to speak, then Mr. Lubega, and then there is a message in the chat.
Okay, let me hear from Jonathan, then Lubega, then I can go to the chat.
Oh no, I was saying that Madam Agnes has been calling to speak.
Sorry, Jonathan, I missed you.
Agnes, go ahead, please.
Madam Agnes wants to speak.
Okay.
Sorry, colleagues, for coming back. Bernard, I want the record to be very clear. What I proposed is that Professor Kaya asked a question, how are we measuring our successes? And I added to that to actualize it, can we think of very soon converging ourselves and we develop an engagement strategy with clear outputs and direction and indicators and outcomes such that at point T, we can measure our successes, not like a food safety strategy. No, our engagement strategy as the disciples of this mission. I just wanted to clarify, and we have our record right. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Agnes, for that clarity. Yeah, it carries a lot of weight. Okay, so now let me check in the chat. I can see Dr. Sekamate tell us something here, very interesting. Let me see. The initiative is extremely relevant to the focus of Buganda Kingdom, as themed Situlo Mutindo. Yes. Let me just make sure that I have a whole screen to read this. Okay, so eliminating HHPs from our food. He then also talks about, oh, my screen is failing to read that chart very well. Mr. Chimera, do you have that chart very clear on your side and you read it for us?
If doctor can unmute, then he shares with us. How is that?
Yes, I think that's a better deal. Dr. Sekamate would share with us indeed.
Good afternoon, friends. Thank you very much for this engagement. And listening throughout, felt extremely grateful that we were talking about a subject that relates to the newly launched theme of the kingdom. The theme of the kingdom we are moving with is Stura Omutindo. Literally translates that uplift the standard of everything that surrounds livelihoods of human beings in the kingdom. And one important aspect of the livelihoods is food. So we are compelled to show evidence to the king that we are promoting, we are uplifting the standards omutindo of food. And one of the things that we have highlighted, and Bernard and Henry were much aware of this, is that we must let the people, the king's people, they think they go back to safe food production, crop production. We are feeling ashamed by the instructions of European Union telling us to not to cut trees, not to spray chemicals that they introduced to us. And we are saying we are welcoming that idea and saying, we in the kingdom know that the safe coffee is produced with banana, is produced with mutuba tree, is produced with climbing beams along the trees and the bananas. So the aspect of Kusitura Mutindo, promoting food safety, is supposed to reflect in all markets that are under the custodianship of the Kingdom of Buganda. We are not absolutely sure how we are going to actualize this, but it is our commitment, if nothing can happen, but to let the right information get into the ears of Kabaka's people. So the subject here, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely important to us, and it fits very, very well in the theme the Kabaka has instructed us to follow this year. And we will be more than happy to participate in any way possible to Kusitura Mutindo, to elevate the standard of food. And if anything else everything else is okay, but things to do with pesticide residues, all things to do with the evils of agrochemicals, fits well in our program. So thank you very much, gentlemen. And we have also been debating this in the circles of the kingdom. We are asking the Katikiro. Yes, we announced the program of Lift the Standard this year. How have we benchmarked? How shall we be able to tell next year, end of next year, that we have moved this age? Which exactly fits with the professor's concern. And the discussions in the kingdom is, let's create some kind of Buganda Bureau of Standards of some sort at different levels. So that when we go to Busiro, when we go to Singo, we have a committee there, maybe around this county people who can make a different, collect basic data, say from key producers of vegetables, of coffee, of beans, of every sort. And they can indicate to us that we used to sell so much of this chemical from the major agrochemical shops. Now, those sales have reduced in favor of this type of chemicals. And we would like to see that in the government programs of agricultural development, cooperative development programs in these districts where the Ministry of Agriculture supplies chemicals and fertilizers. We can get some crude, some kind of data, giving us an idea of how we are progressing into the right direction. If we tally with the Ministry of, if we cooperate with the Ministry of Agriculture to follow up those districts that are participating in that SCDP program. But those are ideas. I just want to thank you very much. And we just to tell everybody that we, as a Kingdom of Uganda, in response for that, we are highly committed to this important subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sekamate, for extensively sharing with us. It's always an honor to rub shoulders with you. We need, I think, to gather again at Nakakawa to have conversations again on this food thing. So we are really honored that you joined this conversation. but also for sharing with us this perspective of the kingdom. It's an honor to always work with the kingdoms. And yeah, we shall strategize and see how best we serve with the kingdom of Buganda, but also bring on board other kingdoms around the safety of the food for the subjects of the Kabaka. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sekamate, for sharing with us. So, comrades, I see that our time is now fast spent. Of course, we have more time, about 13 minutes, to end the conversation. That is only if we still have any persons who have anything they want to share with us. But in any case, if we don't have any more hands, then we could be able to end the meeting a little bit earlier, maybe 10 minutes earlier, just to give you more time to drive back home or maybe to finish off a few office work here and there. So I really want to take this opportunity once again to appreciate you all for participating very, very actively in this conversation. But also, very importantly, I wish to appreciate the partners who came together to organize these sessions. Of course, the Food Rights Alliance, looking at the Siatini team, looking at Sefrot team, Pelham Uganda, Pelham Association, looking at Caritas, Piani, and of course, Consent, and of course, the umbrella body of the Food Safety Coalition of Uganda. I really want to appreciate you, comrades, for working together, ensuring that this World Food Safety Month will reach out to our people, bring the message of food safety to them in different ways. And I want to urge all of us to continue doing the same. Let us be disciples of this message. Reach out to everybody. What affects someone else also affects us in one way or the other. If a farmer doesn't handle food well, the transporter is not handling food well, the restaurant person, it will, at the end of the day, it will affect us. It will also affect the health workers because they will be overwhelmed. It will affect government because it will spend a lot of money on medication and other things. So everybody is actually affected in one way or the other. So let us take responsibility. Let us continue speaking about this issue. Let us do research on food safety. Let us do awareness on food safety. Let us continue capacity building the different categories of people on food safety, but also let us continue with food safety advocacy so that the food safety is recognized in a country. There's a lot of investment that can be put in food safety. I mean, I think we have a lot of work to do, and we shall be communicating probably the next course of action. But otherwise, I want to appreciate you so much for coming together, the team, and delivering on this mandate that we promised ourselves. I now hand over the microphone back to Mr. Chimera to give us the closing remarks and also to tell us what next, either to close the meeting or he wants us to be here. I don't know. So thank you, comrades, and over to you, Mr. Chimera, for closing session. Thank you.
Bernard, you had said it all, and the discussions had given us all the aspects. Colleagues, I want to thank you all. Always, this time shouldn't be taken for granted. It's time well spent, and all the discussions, Prof, you have now prompted us, you've given us a catalytic observation and thoughts. And I find that this is calling us to action so we can start the strategizing informally until we formalize it. I always think that that's how it is, that big ideas start small. And like it was always said, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We started by simple discussion. We need to have a convening to take stock of what we have done. Now, after the convening and getting the stock, now we need now to get to know where did we start and where have we ended? What have been the gains? Are we going to see more news reports? Are we going to see more what? I think we need to build on the success. That is the next step. and then we put into action all that we have proposed here, and then go back to continuing partnering, and then we deliver. Because when we make it our culture to partner, to meet, to discuss food, it is going to become a norm. So those are the few words that I have, and I want to thank you very much. We'll always keep in touch and also call on you to utilize the digital spaces to bring ourselves together to deliver. Thank you very much, colleagues, and we look forward to further engagement. Lastly, Prof, the good thing is that the system captures all the discussions that are in chat are going to be passed on to Bernard as he compiles the report, and all these ideas will be actionated. So thank you very much, colleagues. I wish you all the best, and thank you for putting off time. And the other aspect is the links to all the audios, the what will be in the report for us to access and utilize as a resource. Thank you very much, colleagues. God bless.
All right, we see each other. Have a very lovely evening. And Mr. Chimera, I know that you took a photo when we didn't know, but I'm sure that you took it. So thank you so much, guys. And please, we catch up again
several of them
in a few days' time. Greetings to everybody, and have a lovely evening.